My friends, the first truth we must embrace is this: your future is not a gift, it is a responsibility. You are not simply a product of your past or your environment. You are not confined to the circumstances into which you were born, nor are you defined by the misfortunes that have visited you. There may be forces around us, political, social, economic, that try to limit our movement, that try to tell us who we can be, how far we can go, or what we are worth. But the greatest force of all lies within us. It is the power to choose. We must understand this deeply. No matter how dark the night, no matter how heavy the burden, we always possess one sacred freedom, the ability to choose how we respond. That is where the future begins. It is not carved out by fate. It is shaped by the quiet, courageous decisions we make every single day. Some will say, but I had no choice. And I say, respectfully, that is not true. We may not choose our suffering, but we choose how to carry it. We may not choose our obstacles, but we choose whether to be broken by them or built by them. When people deny you opportunity, you still have the choice to prepare for the day when the door will open. When others treat you with hatred, you still have the choice to respond with dignity. And when the world looks at you and sees limitation, you still have the choice to see yourself as capable of change, capable of growth, capable of shaping a new tomorrow. Too many people are waiting for the world to become fair, waiting for someone to rescue them, waiting for the perfect moment, but time does not wait. The future does not wait, and we must not wait either. We must stand up and claim what is already within us, the will to decide who we are and who we shall become. I have walked alongside many who were told they had no future. I have seen eyes once dim with despair grow bright with purpose because someone dared to believe, not in their circumstances, but in their capacity to rise above them. This is not about dreams that come easy. It is about discipline, about waking up every day and making the hard, quiet choices that lead to change. It is about doing what is right when no one is watching, about working when others have given up, about learning when the world tells you knowledge is not for you. Your choices are your power. They may seem small: to tell the truth, to forgive someone, to help another, to stay hopeful, but over time, they become the architecture of your destiny. Each decision is a step forward or backward. Each moment is a chance to move closer to the future you seek or further from it. And this is what makes us human, not our circumstances, but our conscience. Not what happens to us, but what we choose to do with it. If you let fear decide for you, if you let bitterness guide your steps, then you surrender your power. But if you choose courage, if you choose principle, if you choose action even when it is hard, then you are building something that no one can take away from you. So I say to every young man and woman, every worker, every mother, every student, every prisoner, every dreamer, do not wait for someone else to define your future. Do not give that power away. Take it, use it, build with it. Stand in front of the mirror and say, "This is where it starts with me." Let the world say what it will. Let the past whisper its doubts, but let your choices speak louder. Make your own future. My friends, there will be moments in your life when the road ahead is not only uncertain, but painful. You will face hardship, and at times it will feel as if the weight of the world is pressing down upon your shoulders. You may be abandoned by people you trusted, betrayed by systems meant to protect you, or knocked down again and again by forces beyond your control. This I will not deny, but what I will tell you, what I know with the certainty of lived truth, is that hardship does not have the final word. Vision does. When life closes in, when you find yourself in a place of struggle, and all of us will, the question is not how deep the valley is, but whether your eyes can still see the mountaintop. If you can hold on to a vision of something better, not just for yourself, but for your family, for your people, for your nation, then no hardship can truly break you. Because vision gives hardship meaning. It gives suffering a direction. And it gives the soul something to fight for when everything else says give up. There is a reason those who endure the most often rise with the greatest strength. It is because they have walked through fire without allowing it to consume them. They have used the heat to forge something greater: resilience, wisdom, compassion. But they did not do it by chance. They did it with intention, with vision. You see, when you cannot yet reach the future, you must learn to see it in your mind. You must create it within yourself before the world will ever recognize it. That is not easy. It is far easier to surrender to bitterness, to blame, to let your dreams dissolve into excuses. But hardship is not an invitation to give up. It is a demand to go deeper, to discover what you truly believe, to test the strength of your spirit. There were times I felt the loneliness of struggle like a cold wind in my bones. But I never let that wind blow out the fire inside me. Even in silence, even in isolation, I saw something greater on the other side. And so I endured, not because I enjoyed the suffering, but because the vision was worth it. I held on to the idea that a child, born into poverty or pain, could one day live with dignity. I held on to the belief that justice would not remain a dream, but would become a fact. That is what kept me going. And I ask you now, what is your vision? Not the vision others have written for you, but the one that lives inside your own heart. When the night is long and the future seems too far, what is the image you hold on to? Because that image, that vision, will be your compass. We must teach our children not only how to survive hardship, but how to transform it. Not only how to endure pain, but how to pull purpose from it. That is what it means to make your own future, to refuse to let hardship write the ending of your story. Instead, you rise, you write another chapter. You choose to believe again. There is something sacred in that choice, in the refusal to be hardened by hardship. To keep loving, to keep building, to keep working even when there is no applause. That is strength. That is character. That is vision in action. I have seen people with nothing still stand tall because they carried something inside them that could not be broken. And I have seen those with everything fall because they lacked a vision greater than themselves. So let your dreams stretch beyond your own needs. Let your vision include those whose voices are often unheard. Let it include the forgotten, the poor, the outcast. Because a future worth making is one that lifts us all. When you walk through hardship with a clear vision, you do not walk alone. You walk with the generations before you who endured much more, and the generations after you who will inherit what you leave behind. You become part of something greater, a movement, a story, a future unfolding. So when the struggle comes, as it surely will, do not lower your head. Raise your eyes. See the future not as something given, but as something earned step by step, sacrifice by sacrifice. Walk toward it with purpose. Make your own future. My friends, if we are to make our own future, we must begin not with wealth or power, but with something far more lasting: knowledge and the courage to live by our values. The future is not only built by hands, but by minds that are prepared and hearts that are guided by integrity. Too many people believe the future belongs only to the rich or the well-connected, but I tell you, it belongs to those who are willing to learn and to live with honor, even when no one is watching. Education is not simply a path to a job. It is the key that unlocks freedom. It is the foundation on which every just society must be built. A mind that has been opened, that has been taught to question, to understand, to imagine, that is a mind that cannot be enslaved. That is a mind that can shape nations. And it does not matter whether you are learning in a grand university or under a tree, whether you are reading books or listening carefully to the wisdom of your elders. What matters is your hunger to grow, to think, to rise. But knowledge without character is dangerous. What good is education if it is used to cheat, to dominate, to destroy? What good is intelligence if it is not matched by conscience? We must raise not only clever leaders, but good ones. We must raise not only ambitious young people, but honest ones. If we are to build a future worth living in, we must teach that integrity is not a weakness. It is the highest form of strength. The temptations of corruption, of easy wealth, of shortcuts and lies, they are all around us. But a future built on those things cannot last. It may look impressive from the outside, but it will crack and fall because it has no foundation. The true future is built slowly, carefully, with truth, with justice, and with sacrifice. When you choose to live with integrity, you may not always be praised. In fact, at times you may be mocked or even punished. People may ask, why not just do what everyone else is doing? Why not take the easy road? But we are not here to follow the crowd. We are here to lead by example. We are here to lift others, not step on them. We are here to speak the truth even when it costs us. I have seen men with great titles fall because they forgot their values. And I have seen women in quiet villages rise because they lived with honor. The future does not ask where you come from. It asks, what do you stand for? And when the time comes to decide to take a bribe or to say no, to spread lies or to speak truth, to cheat your way forward or to walk the harder, honest path, that is when your future is being written. Education must not only teach us how to make a living, but how to live with purpose. It must open our eyes not only to facts, but to humanity. We must teach our children not only to read, but to care about the people around them, about justice, about fairness. Because without that, we are only training clever thieves, and we cannot leave this task only to schools. Each of us must become a teacher in how we live, how we speak, how we lead our families and our communities. The young are always watching. They learn more from what we do than from what we say. So if we want them to believe in truth, we must live truth. If we want them to be just, we must act with justice. If we want them to respect others, we must show them how it is done in our homes, in our work, in our politics. This is the quiet work of future, building the kind that does not always make headlines, but shapes lives. You may never see a monument in your name, but if you live with honor, if you educate yourself and others, if you hold to your principles even when it hurts, then you will have done something far greater. You will have laid a stone in the road to a better tomorrow. Let us not chase only what glitters. Let us chase what is good. Let us become a people who value wisdom over noise, who choose truth over convenience, and who understand that to make a future, we must first make ourselves ready to carry it with grace. Make your own future. My friends, we often speak of making our own future as if it is a journey we must walk alone, as if the path ahead is ours to forge by sheer will and individual effort. But the truth, the deep, undeniable truth, is that no one builds a future in isolation. The future is a shared endeavor. It is a story written not by one hand, but by many, and it is in our unity, in our willingness to come together, that we find the strength to rise higher than any one of us could rise alone. When I look at the great movements of history, the ones that changed the course of nations and the lives of millions, I see a common thread. People who understood that their individual freedom was bound to the freedom of others. They understood that to rise alone is to rise only part way. To build a future of lasting value, we must build it for all, and we must build it with all. It is easy to forget this in times of struggle. When hardship presses in, when opportunities seem scarce, when we feel the sting of injustice, it can be tempting to turn inward to protect ourselves, to guard our own. But that path is a trap, because the future we desire, one of dignity, justice, and hope, cannot be secured by closing the door behind us. It can only be won when we open our hands and our hearts to others. Look around you. Each person carries their own story of pain and triumph, of hope and struggle. When we stand together, those stories become a powerful chorus. They become a force that can break chains, topple walls, and build bridges. And when we lift others as we climb, we create a foundation that will hold for generations to come. Service to others is not a burden. It is a privilege. It is the recognition that we are connected, that none of us is truly free until all of us are free. When we help our neighbors, when we teach our children, when we speak out for those who have no voice, we are not just doing good, we are building the very future we want to live in. This is why leadership is not about titles or power. True leadership is about responsibility. It is about serving those around you, even when it is difficult. It is about putting the needs of the many above your own comfort. It is about understanding that your strength is multiplied when shared. I have seen communities transformed not by wealth or force, but by the simple act of people coming together to care for one another. When a village plants a tree, when a group builds a school, when neighbors protect each other's children, these acts create a future that no obstacle can erase. And it starts with each of us in our own spheres of influence. It starts with the small choices to be kind, to listen, to support, to stand up for justice. Because these choices ripple outward, they inspire others. They create a network of hope and courage that can withstand the darkest storms. No one is too small to make a difference. No voice is too quiet to be heard. When we join our voices and our hands, we become unstoppable. Together, we can dismantle the systems that divide us, build the bridges that unite us, and create the future that reflects our highest ideals. So I call on you not just to think of your own future, but to think of our future, not just to dream for yourself, but to dream for those who come after you, to act not only for your own gain, but for the good of all, because the future we seek is not a destination on a map, it is a journey we travel together. And in walking that path side by side, in lifting each other up, we make our own future, a future of hope, dignity, and shared humanity. Make your own future.